Hi everyone. In this video, I will walk you through the GitAlerts 2.0. I've already created and released the CLI version some time back. And when I was initially developing the CLI version, the thought process was to detect repositories which was created by the organization users in GitHub that cannot be simply controlled by the GitHub administrators until unless they are on the GitHub enterprise managed users, also known as GitHub EMU. So those repositories which was created by the org users, essentially the developers, can potentially leak secrets and sensitive files, and so on. So the idea was to detect those, and then it was kind of more or less defenders friendly. So this particular 2.0 is more bug bounty hunters friendly, and I'll show you how. And it further simplifies the secret hunting capabilities. It uses Django, Celery, and it also has a front end based on React.js and MCP server integrations, which makes it more powerful. So you can just use MCP server integration and let the AI decide what to scan, what not to scan, and validate all the findings. So once you set up Git alerts, you will land on this particular screen. And so I will put out all the instructions to set up in the README, but if those are not sufficient, let me know. I'll create a separate video for the setup. Okay, so let us first see the dashboard. So currently everything is zero because this is a fresh setup. And then let's go to the scans. So if we navigate to the scans and create a scan, we have a bunch of options which is available for creating a scan. The first one is obviously like scanning organization repositories, where you can scan repositories belonging to a organization. And then the second option is for the organization users. You can scan repositories belonging to the organization users. And then you have a bunch of options available for the search, which is like search code, commits, issues, repositories, and users. And these are like pretty powerful once you figure out a pattern. For instance, let's say a company ABC always creates onboards their GitHub users with a uh, prefix of ABC, either first or at the last. So let's say first name, last name, hyphen ABC, or ABC hyphen first name, last name. So you can figure out those patterns, and then you can search for those patterns and then scan the repositories, because those users are generally not uh, visible in the public. So you will not know, but rather you can figure it out, and then you can search those patterns here and then scan the repository that may again get you some secrets related to that organization. So these are the kind of scans which are supported. Now before we create a new scan, we have to set up the integrations, because uh, all these integrations will use GitHub APIs, and then GitHub has a rate limit, especially for the code and commits part. So let's set up the integration first. So what we have to do is we have to click on connect and then provide the GitHub pad. So let's create a GitHub pad. Let me navigate to my GitHub settings and then navigate to developer, and then I have to create a classic token. So I'll create a classic token. Let me rename, let me say GitAlerts demo, and the validity is 7 days is fine because I'm going to delete after this video. So we have the token, and then let me just copy this and paste it here, and let me hit connect. So it says pending. Let me just test this, or yeah. So now it is connected. All right. So the integration is connected. Now, before we initiate a new scan, I would like to walk you through the settings first. So if you go to the settings, we have a bunch of options, which is by default enabled, and you can use based on your preference. So let me show you one by one. So first setting is the skip recent days. This is essentially helpful to skip the repositories which you have scanned in the 15, which you have recently scanned. For instance, let's say I created a scan, and that scan scanned 10 repositories, and out of those 10 repositories, whenever I create a new scan, it will not scan those repositories which is already scanned in the earlier scan. So it will save some bandwidth. So this particular window defines what time you want to reset the counter. You can set it 15 days, you can say 30 days, 45, etc. based on your preference. So basically uh, settings this particular settings enables you to skip the recently scanned repositories and save some bandwidth for not scanning them again and again. And then the second option we have is the verified secrets only. So this particular GitAlerts 2.0 only uses truff log to detect the secrets. So by default, it is enabled as verified secret only, which means truff log verified, which removes the noise. And then we have one more option to scan only the repositories belonging to the organizations only. So which means whatever the supported options you have in the scan, if you check the settings, then it will only scan repositories which belongs to the organization, and it will scan all the person. It will not scan or skip the personal repositories. So once you define what is best for you, you click save. And let me just uncheck this verified one because I just want to show you a demo. Okay, now my settings are saved. Now again, we have two more settings, which is ignore finding type. For instance, like once you scan using Traflog, you will get bunch of findings like you will get Slack, GitHub, you will get some virus total keys or etc. or let's say showdown keys etc. And you feel like let's say the showdown key is kind of not important and may not have that impact. So you can just start adding those here. So it will not show you under the finding, it will just ignore those. So you can like focus on what matters most. And similarly, the last setting is ignore email domains. This is also useful, let's say when you uh, mm, creating scans and you figure out that I do not want to have findings which is committed by @gmail.com address, which you feel okay is more personal but not belongs to any organization, etc., etc. So you can just put those, and it will not show you in the findings. So again, you can more drill down to and focus on what matters most. So that's about the findings. Let us now navigate the scans. All right, now moving back to the scans. So in this scan, let's create a simple scan for scanning the organization repositories, and I'll use this particular org just for the demo purpose. And let me just choose this and create scan. So the scan is created, it is in progress, and because it has only one repository, so I expect it to complete it. Yeah, so it is completed. Let us click here and see what we have done. So we have created or we have initiated a organization repository scan. The status is completed, and mm, uh, the value or the org name was awesome org 0x0. It was created by the admin user, and it has only one repository that it can, and it scanned one repository, and then it has a total finding and zero. And like if you remember from the settings, because we have set up for the 15 days, and again, like if you have kind of create the same scan again, it will just ignore, it will just not do the rescanning because we have those 15 days window. So it will say once, let me just open the details, and you can see this time uh, it detected one repository, but it did not scan anything. And in the ignore, there's one repository, so which verifies this recent scanning thing. Okay, so all right, now let us see. So this particular setting, particular scan does not have any findings as such, and hence we have the finding section. We don't have any findings here. So let me just see what uh, can be done so it can show you some findings or maybe some new scans. And everything that you uh, see from here can also be controlled by the MCP server. So this is like the front end. The same, once you set up, the same is available to you in the Django backend. Like you can see the number of scans, you can see the integrations and whether they are connected or not. You can see the findings, and if you add all the ignored domains and finding types, etc., etc. So all those options are available in the Django admin as well. Now let me show you the MCP part to it. So again, like MCP needs a setup, and once you set up, I have connected MCP server with the Claude code, and I've just given a sample template where I've defined a bunch of options and what it's supposed to act and how I need the output format, etc., etc. And based on this output, it already suggested the hunter's logic, like what we should target actually, and it suggested the AWS credential. So let me do it again. I just interrupted it last. So what should we scan first? And then it will just communicate with the GitAlerts MCP server, and then it will suggest a target for us to scan. Let's wait for it to finish. And then see, it suggested bunch of things, like either we can go for the secret pattern search, we can do the commit search, we can do the organization repositories scan, and it has its own recommendation. Like it says, let's start with strategy 2. So let's do it. Okay, let's start. All right, so what it does is it is now asking me to use the create a scan tool. And then it want to create a scan of search commits which has a value remove passwords or removal password or delete password, etc. I'll just go ahead and admit it, and then let me just go back to the dashboard, and we would have one more scan initiated here. So you can see we have the option, we have the scan here, and it detected total 164 repositories. We can always come here, and then you can see it scanned 12 repositories, and it does not have any findings as such. And then these are like the bunch of ignored repositories, which is kind of I've already scanned.